Hello, can you hear me?
Hello, Mario Polino.
Yeah, hello.
Welcome.
Thank you.
This is Sergio Mavi, okay? I will try to moderate this talk, okay?
Yeah, great.
Yeah. Right now, I think we'll need some minutes.
Yeah.
We'll see whether other participants shows up, right?
Yeah, sure.
I don't know. Yeah, Professor Baresi.
Yep.
Good afternoon. How are you doing?
I'm okay, thank you. Yes. Just to let Mario know, usually these talks are not attended by hundreds of people, but more than 7 people. So usually we had 40, 20. So let's say a reasonable numbers. So usually we have a kind of smooth start because people are a bit shy to connect.
Okay.
And then we start.
Sure, no problem.
Okay, good.
Yeah, you tell me when you want to start. It's fine.
Can we say we wait till 10 past?
Okay.
Sure. Yeah, yeah. Okay.
And this is because a lot of reasons. But the main point on security is that while the idea of a secure system is an easy concept to grasp, the reality is that the security is in the details, okay? And you need to understand the details of the system to also understand the security. You can build a nice overview of what the system is allowed or not allowed to do, but then everything comes down to the implementation and the technology that is used in the implementation. And if you're building a complex system, you don't have the view of the little details, okay? And that's one of the main reasons why we have a lot of vulnerabilities, is building complex system needs for people to abstract in higher concept, losing the details, and then we fail in the details because we are losing each of these things, okay? And the other interesting part is that hacking looks a little bit like magic, especially for people that are not into it. So basically you have the system and you can let them do whatever you want. Okay, so that's the closest thing to magic. I hear a little bit of my voice back. Maybe there is some mic that is unmuted. Can you please mute the mic? Okay, better. Thank you. So I mean, it's nice to do magic. Okay, that's the thing. So how do we train and how do we attract people? Because if we have if we have few people doing security, what we need to do to improve on this is to basically attract young people on the topic, so that in 2, 3, 5 years, 10 years, those are the people who can actually do the job, right? So the challenge here is to have young people interested in the topic, and then that's the main goal. If you have people interested in the topic, then this shortage will be solved eventually, okay? The concept of hacking per se is really cool. There are movies about that. Many movies, some it's better than other. But so it's not that hard to attract people per se in the concept, but because it requires a lot of dedication and a lot of knowledge, it's hard to keep people working on the topic. Okay, so we don't just need to get them interested, we need to train in the sense that we need to let them learn the basic, and then have a space where those people can basically improve their skill. Okay, and in the past, and we will want to do this in a safe environment. Okay, computer security things, if not done properly, can basically become illegal action, and we don't want people to do any illegal action. So the goal here is we can practice the skill, we can test what we can do or not do, but we want to do it in an environment that is not harming anyone. Okay, that's really the key, because in the 80s, for example, there was no way to test security things beside in the real world, and there was a lot of people that end up in jail for that. Okay, so we don't want that. We want to people being able to train, be able to test, be able to hone their skill in a controlled environment, so that they can learn safely, and they will not harm anyone doing that. That's important. Okay, so that's the reason why we have a program like Cyber Challenge. Okay, the goal of Cyber Challenge is to train young students, and you can see here the age is basically between 16 and 24 years old. Okay, this means that we have high schoolers, undergrads, and master in the same program. Okay, and this is a challenge because basically you have different level of knowledge, okay, through these three categories. Okay, the assumption here on the training is that the people have the basic knowledge of computer science, and we build on that. Okay, that's the starting point. And the goal of the project is, as we discussed it so far, basically reduce the shortage of skilled people with security in mind in the IT, and basically train and recruit and have people security professional in the future. Okay, the original goal was to attract at least 4,000 students in Italy. Okay, and as we're gonna see, basically we surpassed this a few years ago. We have way more people that are now joining our training. How we do that? Okay, how we train people in security. There are basically two concepts there to get people good on security. The first is training per se, in the sense that we want them to teach the basic of computer security through real examples. Okay, I'm gonna discuss this a lot. The main point is we want people to have hands-on experience, because the concepts are not trivial, but not hard to grasp per se. But then actually acting on the concept, actually being able to exploit a vulnerability, to find a bug, to reverse engineering a program, that's another level of competence. We want that level of competence. Okay, we don't want just to them have an idea of stuff works. We want them to be very good actually at acting on the concept that they learn. Okay, and starting from nothing, it's really hard. Today, this is even more true than in the past, because there is a lot of knowledge to catch up to actually reach current state of art, right? So we want them to basically go through the basic as fast as they can, so that then we start working on the current state of things. And the way to do that is basically exploiting gamification during training, after training, and when competition. Okay, because reading about security may be boring sometimes. You need to spend a lot of time in very specific details, reading documentation, reading how protocol works, how the specific implementation works. Okay, so that can be very, very boring. Okay, if we, and that's what we do, can create a game out of that, a purpose for doing that boring things, that has a reward in the short period, not in the long period, then we can have people trained in a way more effective way. Okay, so that's the main point. We want to exploit gamification. Few numbers about the program and the enrollment of the program. So basically, the program started with a single university in 2017. Okay, and so we have a limit on how much people we can train decently, and this amount is fixed to 20 people per university. Okay, so each university is gonna train 20 people each year. This means that we do a selection. Okay, and so the candidates that you see there is basically the amount of people that applied that specific year. And on the left, you see how many basically university or entities are in Italy that are doing training for that year. Okay. And on the right, the amount of people who actually get enrolled and the percentage of people that actually get enrolled. So in 2017, we had one university, almost 700 candidates, only 20 people enrolled. 2018 was the first time that we participated as Politecnico. Okay, there was already almost 2,000 candidates. This year, basically, we had 32 university and 2 military academy that I joined as well. We had more than 5,000 candidates, of which almost 500 only at Politecnico year, and we had 680 enrollment people. So it's about 12%. So at least we know there are 5,000 young people interested in security because they know about the program they enroll. And what happened is basically that someone that don't manage to get 1 year, maybe getting the second year, there are still multiple chances. As long as someone is between 16 and 20 years old, it's allowed to take part. The other interesting thing is that right now we basically have training program all around Italy. Each of the spot is basically one university doing the training with a specific program. Cool. To support all this stuff, basically we have several sponsors. This is a number of to give you the idea of how many sponsors are needed for the whole system to actually work. This is in 2019. The nice thing is that since this year we should have like public support, and we may lower eventually the number of sponsors that we need. But the whole project is completely free for the students and is basically paid with sponsor. Okay, and the interesting thing for the sponsor here is basically that they have access to students or almost students that are almost graduated that they know about security, and they can eventually hire for them to work. So this is to give you an idea of how the program is and the number about the program, but how the program works, how it is divided around the year. Okay, so basically in this period until the beginning of January, basically the end of January, so between now and the beginning of January, we do the actually from December, no, it's not December yet, sorry. We do the registration. We collect all the people that are interested, but as I told you, we need to basically have cut down to only 20 people per university. So we basically do 2 tests. Okay, one that is an online test, and is basically a logic test. Okay, so it needs to people needs to answer about logic quiz. And then we do like a ranking, and we select the top from the pretest, and then we do the real test, and this is a programming test. Okay, we used to do this in presence, but since COVID on, we basically moved everything online, at least for the test. Okay, so right now the test is basically a code challenge done online with the system that we built. And this is in if you're familiar with competitive programming, the style is similar to competitive programming test. And the reason is that at the starting of the program, we want people that are already familiar with computer science. They know how to write a program, and they can reason in a logic way. So those are the 2 tests that we do, and this is and we create a ranking, and we select the top 20 people from that. Okay, then we start the real training. The training starts in March every year, and it's basically 3 months of really intensive training. Okay, I have 2 slides about what we do, but it's basically every week we go through a lot of topics and very fast. Okay, so it's really intensive training. Then we do the challenge. We do the local challenge among each of the 20 participants in the single university. We build a team, and then we do like a national challenge where we basically have all university one against each other, and we do another competition. Okay, and every year we repeat that since 2018, basically, till now. So with few refining in the various periods, but that's what we do basically every year. So the training is, as I said, it's very intense. Okay, it's, in my opinion, harder than a university class because it's a lot of information in very few months. Okay, but the idea is that we do this with the one that are top ranked. So basically, we meet every Friday from 2 to 8, so a lot of time. And how it's divided? Basically, we do 2 hours of teaching, ideally theory stuff, and 4 hours of practical exercise. I would say that. Okay, that's ideally how the time is divided. But what we really do is basically we interleave the information, the theoretic information with practical exercise the whole time. It's usually about 30 minutes of introduction, and then hands-on on a specific version of the stuff that we just saw described. Okay, and the idea here is that listen to coherent talk. It's easy, and everything looks coherent in your mind when you listen to someone. When you try practically to solve something, is when you really learn. Okay, it's when you can use the concept that you listen and then work on that and adapt and actually really understand the nuance of what you just listened. Okay, we usually try to have at least 3 challenges, 3 exercises during the 6 hours basically of the day. And what end up is that basically we solve the first challenge together with the instructor, like guided solution on how it works. The second one is basically it's another one, and it's basically we give them the trace of the solution, and the third one, the hard one, they need to solve it on their own because there is no time to solve it in 6 hours. Okay, this is for each arguments, and we can do that because we have other students that are helping, that are the students of our team, Tower of Hanoi. Okay, I'll talk about the team later, but you need couple of people to run this type of training. And the whole time we have basically a ranking system where as many challenges as you solve, if you solve more challenges, you're basically ranking high, and this is on the whole time. So there is a little bit of competition among the students that we have to solve the challenge. Of course, they work together a lot, and there are the structure there helping for whatever they don't understand, and they can ask how to move forward, and we are very keen to help them. So the topics, okay, what we teach them. So there are basically 4 main categories about the topic. The first is binary exploitation. Okay, binary exploitation means I have a compiled program, I have an ELF executable that is running on a server, and it's vulnerable, of course. I need to look at the code, understand what is happening, find the vulnerability, and write the exploit. It means write the code that let me in to that machine that is hosting this vulnerable service. And this is done through steps, starting from the very basic, that is buffer overflow and how to write shellcode, but then we move on the mitigation that have been implemented to deal with the buffer overflow and the shellcode and whatever, and which are the technique to bypass those mitigation, which are the condition in which you want to choose one technique with respect to the other, until we reach basically heap exploitation, what is basically the exploiting the misuse of the allocator, memory allocator. Okay, and this is a really complex topic because you need to be able, you basically need to learn how the algorithm work, so that you can basically understand how the chunky memory are placed and play with them so that you can reorganize memory to your place to write the exploit. We teach them how to do reverse engineering. Okay, so it's basically understanding what the program does, but not only understanding what the program does, also which are the tricks, okay, to avoid reverse engineering and how to defeat them. Okay, because there is all this adversarial process of I can do reverse engineering, so people will do tricks to break the tools that I use to do reverse engineering, and I can bypass the tricks, and there is all this process that need to be learned. We teach them, this is basically state-of-the-art stuff like symbolic execution to do reverse engineering and to find the exploitation path. Okay, so that is included as well, as also web security means I have a web application and that is running from the basic stuff like SQL injection to fancy XSS auditor bypass, CPS bypass, or whatever, all the stuff that you think. Okay, it's very very intense. In only 3 classes, that's the main thing. And of course, cryptography well, it means stuff like I have an encrypted message, I interact with a crypto system, how if I understand the crypto system, basically I can exploit it to get either the key or the message or the secret or whatever it's needed. Okay, all this stuff in 3 months. Okay, way more than you would do in a university class, I would say. And you see on the right is basically how the people perform on the challenges that we give them. Okay. And there is, I mean, the easy one that basically anybody solve, and as long as you go on the hard one, way less people solve that. But the top one are really good. Top one are the excellence, those that can exploit very, very fancy stuff. Cool. So yeah, so this is about the organization. So let me talk to you a little bit about the challenge and the CTF and how they work, unless you have questions. And of course, I'm very happy to take it. Okay, so how the challenge works. Okay, so how we use this concept of challenge to train the person. The idea is very easy. In implementation and what to do with them is very deep. The idea is there is an application, a toy application, okay, hosted somewhere, and there is some sensitive information that we call the flag. Okay, the toy application can be whatever. It can be social network, and the sensitive information maybe is the private message. It can be an encrypted message or something that encrypt message, and you need to decrypt one of the previous messages. Or the flag can be a file on a server, and you need to access the server to retrieve the file. Okay, so the concept is there is a system there, a computer system with any declination of that, and there is some sensitive information that is the flag. You need to retrieve the flag. Okay, that's what is a challenge. It's a puzzle, basically, a computer science puzzle. You have a system, data that you need to get, and you need to find a way to get it. Okay, and there are a couple of different version of this competition. This is also why it's called capture the flag. Okay, this is the flag, you need to capture it. Okay, and there are a couple of versions of those competition. There are many versions. There are two that are very famous. The one very famous style of competition. The first one is called Jeopardy, based basically on the famous American TV quiz Jeopardy. Okay, and the idea is that you have categories of these challenges, and each of the challenge, it's a single challenge that you can solve and get point for the challenge. So each challenge has a specific amount of point. If you solve the challenge, if you get the flag, you get those amount of points. Okay, it's divided per category so that you more or less know what you're dealing with. And and at the end, the ranking is basically the sum of all the points. Who get more points win. Okay, that's how we do. And the categories are many. Okay, we already discussed stuff like the stuff that basically we do the training on. So we have cryptography, you have reverse engineering, binary exploitation, and so on. Okay, and ideally in the team that you build to compete in this competition, you need a little bit of each to build a balanced team and to be able to be able to solve as many challenges as you can. Okay, there is a lot of mixing of categories. Maybe you have a binary exploitation with a crypto system, you can flip a bit to break the crypto system. Okay, that stuff is still part of the challenge that you need to be able to solve. And then there is a second very famous way of doing this type of competitions, and is what we call attack and defense. Okay. And attack and defense is a little bit different and more complex as a game. The idea of the attack and defense is that basically each of the team that is taking part in this type of competition has basically a server with many services. Okay, each service is a challenge, ideally, but everybody share the same services. Okay, those services are vulnerable. There is a market system, and you need to run it, and it has vulnerabilities. And the goal of each team is basically to analyze the service, find the vulnerabilities, patch it, and attack the other team on that specific service. Okay, so each team has the same services. There are many teams. They are connected in a network. Okay, and basically they can attack each other. Okay, so if someone finds a vulnerability, you can attack the server of someone else and trying to steal the information from their service. But if you are able to patch it, okay, and fix the vulnerabilities, they eventually will not be able to steal the information. Okay, and to make this work, beside these services, you need an infrastructure that is usually handled by the organizer that is checking the game. So basically, the goal of the organizing checking system, there are basically two goals. The first one is to make sure to leave the flag, the sensitive information inside the vault box, interact with the vault box to place this vulnerable information there. And the second thing is to check that the servers are still working. Okay, because the easy strategy here would be shut down everything. Okay, if you shut down everything, your service is safe, so nobody can steal you anything. Okay, so the point system in here is basically is based on how much flag you've stolen, so the attack point, how much flag wasn't stolen from your system, so defense point, and SLA, so basically if your service is up or down. Okay, and this is built like in a round system, so every 5 minutes the organizer are leaving a flag and checking that if the system is working while the team are attacking each other. Okay, so very interesting game, and it's called Attack and Defense because you can attack, but you also need to defend. While in Jeopardy, usually it's just attack. It's you against the organizer. There is the service there. I need to attack that, and eventually I will. So after the training, going back to the program that we do, after the 3 months of training, we run a CTF. And we call it the local CTF. So it's basically the 20 students that we had for that year. They run, they compete in a Jeopardy CTF, 7 hours. I didn't mention so far, but those competitions are very long. 7 hours is a short competition. Usually those competitions are like between 24 and 56 hours over multiple days. So they compete in a competition that is 7 hours. It's Jeopardy style. It's individual, so each one has its own point, and usually we have like something like 12 challenge. Okay, it's basically impossible for a single person to solve 12 challenge in 7 hours. Okay, usually you need multiple hours to solve a single challenge. They do this, and then we do a ranking. Okay, and we take the top 6. It used to be the top 4, now it's the top 6. The top 6, they become the team of the university. So top 6 from Politecnico is gonna be the team from Politecnico, and then we do the national competition against all the other university. And the national competition is an attack and defense. Okay, so it's the one where you need to attack the other on the network, and you need to patch your system, all that stuff that I explained before. I mean, I put some picture here. This year we were in Turin, basically doing the competition, and each table is one team, one university, and they are all connected on the same network and fighting each other during the entire day. The other thing that we do, because I am competitive, if you didn't, I'm a very competitive person, if you didn't understand so far, and I like Politecnico to win, so we do special training for attack and defense on the 6 that we select for the training. The final ranking for this competition is not only decided by the performance during the competition. We also, for the top 8 team, basically we run a presentation competition. It basically means that each of the teams select one person. They prepare a presentation of 10-15 minutes, and they present to a jury. The jury is basically composed by each member of one member for each university plus a member of the sponsor, okay, that will judge the presentation depending on if they were able to pass the message either technical or not that they wanted to do. Okay, and this is to add some soft skill to the rest of competition that is very, very technical. Okay, so we also want to basically award the soft skill. Okay, and so and this is basically the competition. Then usually the competition is followed by a recruitment fair by the sponsor, because that's the reason why they are there. So you need to give them that. And usually we have like institutional involvement, like we had the talk from the Italian defense minister a few years ago. So basically there are some fancy talk, okay, at the end. To give you an idea of the size of this event, basically this year were 300 people that you see there in this picture, of which 200 are students, and the other usually are either the training and the other organization people. And this year we were in the UN campus in Turin, that is called ILO, and we had to book the entire campus to host the event. Okay, so basically each member of the all traveling, the all stuff, it's covered by the Cyber Challenge for each student. So this is completely free for the student. Okay. Cool. So this is cyberchallenge.it, and I think it's the most useful training things that we do for young people to get interested in cybersecurity. Okay, because as you can see, the cybersecurity course that we have at Polytechnic are in the master. So here we are basically get interested high school and undergrads in the topic. So when we're in the master, they already know that they want to do security. But beside the national challenge that we do, in Europe, we have another couple of, one is European actually, and the other is worldwide event still to promote this type of competition. Okay, so I'm gonna talk briefly about this, and then I'm gonna talk to you about the CTF and the community and other part. So let me start with ECSC. ECSC is basically an European competition, okay, among the European countries. And it's organized by ENISA, that is the EU agency for cybersecurity, but it's basically entered by a steering committee of all the countries that are taking part on the competition. Okay, so the idea is that CyberChallenge.it is the national competition in Italy, while ECSC is the European competition, where each country in Europe are fighting each other, in the sense of competing each other in the competition. The mission is basically the same. The point is encourage young people in doing security, but also, because we are doing this across Europe, is also basically create and collaborate and create a network among people interested, and young people interested in security around the Europe. Each year is organized by a different country. This year was Austria, and we went in Vienna. Next year is going to be Norway, and in 2024 is going to be in Italy. We are organizing that for 2024. It's a 2-day competition. As I told you, usually this competition lasts very long, from 24 to 56 hours, and you get both Jeopardy and attack and defense. The teams, yeah, I was here. The teams are basically composed by 10 people. There are some constraints on how you can form the team. you can have 5 junior, it means under 20 as age, under 20 years old, and 5 senior that are under 25. So basically still in student range. There is no constraint on the fact that the player are student or not. It's just a constraint on the age. This year, there were 28 countries taking part in the competition. Okay, most of them are member of the European Union, but there is also some other countries that are not strictly part of the EU, but still take part of the competition. Okay, one example I think it's like Switzerland, that is not EU member, but still participating in the competition. Plus, we had 4 invited countries that were not competing, like Canada, US, and I don't recall all them all, but basically 32 teams, 32 countries involved. And usually, as I said, the teams is composed by 10 person, 5 junior, 5 senior. There are the coaches that are training the person. In this case, I'm the coach of Team Italy, and usually teams brings media and organizer. So there is like an entourage of for each country. The nice things that I want to show here is that Cyber Challenge is basically, I mean, each country has a similar initiative like Cyber Challenge to choose their team. But in the one that we do in Italy, the one that we do in Italy is the only one that is actually providing training. The other country, they usually just do the final CTF to select the best people, and the training is left to the player on its own. Okay, so there is a lot of material online if you want to try to learn. So there are people learning this on their own, and they exploit that. A picture of this year team. It's not 10, it's 20, because now I'm gonna explain you basically how we try to do the selection in Italy and how we try to do to manage the team. So basically, the idea of Team Italy's name of team is to select 20 people, the top 20 people, and then among those 20, we select the 10 that is going to take part in ECSC. The reason of selecting 20 each year instead of 10 is basically that we want to create continuity from one year to another, so that we don't have every year, each year we have completely new people, because when they get out of age, basically we are changing the team. The other thing is that it basically takes 2 years of training for a new player, from just starting doing challenges and security until they reach the level of competing at ECSC or any serious competition. Okay, it takes 2 years of training, so it's a lot of work. So we try to have people around so that they train and then they are ready after a few times. This year, the youngest person that we had, he was 16 years old, already very, very skilled. How we select them? Basically, we select them from Cyber Challenge, and we take the ranking of Cyber Challenge, and we choose the best there. We need to pay attention, of course, on the skill set of people that we are selecting, because we need different skill. I mean, we discussed that there are multiple topics that you need to cover, so we need to have people that do binary exploitation, web, crypto, that are really good as sysadmin, because you need really good sysadmin while dealing with the attack and defense. Okay, yeah. There is a question. I'm learning something. I don't know if you have a question. So I read a question that says, we can use Metasploitable as vulnerable service. Usually in this type of there are different types of competition. In this type of competition, the challenges are built such in a way that the tool that you have in Metasploit does not work, in the sense that you need to find new vulnerabilities and write new exploit. So otherwise, it will be easy to just use Metasploit. The goal here is to teach people how to build exploit from the start. It's not as complicated as the one that you find in Metasploit, but that's the goal. They need to learn from the scratch. Okay, so usually you cannot use Metasploit, but depend on the competition. Okay, going really fast on this because I have other interesting things, and otherwise I'll be late. We select 10 people. We do 1 week training, still in Turing, to basically have people meet each other because they come from different places, and we build the strategies for a specific competition each year. Okay, so we study the organization of the competition, and we identify the tricks that we need and what are the strategies that we're gonna deploy during the competition. And the other thing that we do, we test the setup, and we develop tool if we need tool for the specific competition. This year, we also started organizing our own competition to teach the team basically how to think if you are an organizer, because it's really useful if you try to organize the competition, you start thinking as the organizer, and you understand what is doable and what is not, and this helps a lot in finding the vulnerability faster, because you know how organizer reasons about that. This is a picture of the competition this year in Vienna. This year we also had a cup for the competition. Each table is one country, and they fight each other for 2 days, basically. Okay, cool. Few numbers about the result of Team Italy, just to show that the program that we have for training is basically consistent in the result. We are always in the top part of the ranking. Consider that there are 32 countries. We are always ranking in the top 5, 6, whatever. And eventually one year we're gonna win, but it didn't happen yet. Cool. So this was ECSC. Okay, this is European competition. We play that as Team Italy, and it's organized by NISA. The stuff that we start doing last year is basically doing a worldwide competition. It still started by NISA in the sense that NISA want to promote that, and but the goal was to do like a competition among bigger region of the entire world. So still the age range is the same, 18-25. The idea is to have 15 players per team, and last year there were 17, okay, from all around the world. The team were Africa, Asia, Canada, Europe, Latin America, Oceania, and USA. And I was in charge of basically coaching the Team Europe. That team means doing the selection and the training for the European team. We did the first edition in June this year in Athens, and yeah, that's the idea of competition, is to doing kind of the same competition that we did at European level, but worldwide. How we do for Team Europe, we basically have 2 nominees per country, 1 male and one female, and we run an open competition, and among those we select 51 people, okay? And we do training for these 51 people basically from September to April, because then there is the competition. We meet somewhere in Europe 4 times a year, okay? It's gonna be Brussels next week, and then we have other, basically every 1 month or 2, depending on how we can fit that. And we do 3 days training over the weekend. And this is similar training that we do for Cyber Challenge and the other stuff, but usually with advanced topic. and we try to have experts talking about specific topic each time for each of the skill that we are lacking. We do an assessment of the skill of the player, and we try to compensate for those skill that we are missing. And yeah, so basically we run 2 competitions during these 4 months to then have an assessment of their skills and select the top 15 that is going to be part of the team year. And then we do the training only specifically on the team to prepare them for the specific competition. Last year we won the first ICC, and this is the picture of the team we were when we were in Athens. Okay, so those are for the more institutional CTF and competition that are there, but the origin of CTF is in the hacking community, and it's very present in the hacking community. So I want to give you like a little bit of history also of what happens in the hacking community. First of all, another thing that we try to do in Italy is to have teams that play DCTF organized by the hacking community, and we have a map of the teams that exist in Italy. Okay, Polytechnico team is Tower of Hanoi and Maccheroni. I'll tell you the difference later. But basically, we have those teams that are the team of the university that play during the entire year in competition organized by other teams all around the world. Those are basically self-organized by the community, so anyone can start a competition. There is a nice website that is called CTF-style that it collects basically those competition. Anyone can register a new competition there, and it's public for anyone to look at. And we started when I started in 2008, there was 2 competitions per year. Okay, now we have from 3 to 5 competitions per week. So every week, 5 competitions. That's a lot of training and testing and whatever. Some is good, some is not very good. It depends. There is a ranking system trying to select those that are better. But there is a lot on the community happening. As I said, it is organized all around the world. There is no structured things. Is usually co-located with security conference. Each security conference has its own CTF, and this is not like a student thing. It's a thing for the community, and this includes students, professionals, and amateurs. All the hacking community is welcome and take part on this competition. They have qualification round, final on site. You get to travel, so it's very nice community. Among these, there is one competition that is the oldest one, that is DEF CON CTF, that is organized during the DEF CON convention in Vegas each year. And this is considered by the community the most important one. Okay, it is the one where everybody is trying to be each year, so it's the most competitive one. And usually there are like smaller CTF that are qualification event for this that is big one. The other very interesting things about the community is that it's very open. So online you can find a lot of write-up of the challenge, and now they can be solved, and also the tools that they use. And they are released. There is a lot of tools online produced by the community that are really useful and simplify the life in many things. Our team is really old. It's from 2004, and we won a few things to describe here, and we still keep playing. You consider that our team is around basically 20 students. That's the average. Okay. How we organize the team? We basically every week we have what we call the ACK meetings, basically every Saturday from 9 to 19 every day. We have a room here at Polytechnicum where the team meet and play CTF, solve challenge. And the goal is to put all of them together in a room and let them do some practical stuff so that they can learn. Okay. And this is led by the student. I mean, in the sense that they go there and they know they try something to do together. So it's easy to organize in the sense that there is not a lot of overhead in organizing the thing. It's very self-organized, but it's useful to experiment with your thing and build tools and compete in challenges. And we are organizing on Discord where we can chat and do the stuff even remotely if we need it. The other team that we run here at Polytechnic is Macaroni. Macaroni is basically a joint venture with other Italian team. Those are basically the Italian team that were available in 2018. We joined together to form Macaroni to compete in DEFCON CTF. This means that the team is really huge. It's like between 40 and 50 people usually. Most of them came from Polytechnic because we are 20, but also other small group where there is very good people. And this brings all the challenge of managing a huge team, from trusting issues that you need to deal among the team and their secrets that they don't want to share, for having everybody in a room to actually play. This is an hotel that we rented last year to actually play together because we didn't have the space to do, and you need to handle all the separate work, whatever. There is a huge overhead in building a big team, but usually they work very well. This is us in DEFCON finals. We played for DEFCON finals. We already discussed that. Going really fast on this because I don't know if it's really interesting. There is a lot of work in playing a CTF at high level. This is a sketch of our infrastructure during the DEFCON finals. It means that we have people in the arena, people in the suit that are different places, and also we have infrastructure in the cloud. And just to show you how many things we had to develop and set up for that type of competition, this is a list of the services that, this is not the services in the challenge. This is just the infrastructure that we have to manage things, okay? From traffic analyzer, traffic exploit replication, exchanging files, backdoor, whatever, all this infrastructure that we need to do. This is prepared in advance, and there is a lot of stuff.
Mario, let me sound as the raw person. Given it's already a quarter past, and maybe the audience has question. So I'm not saying you have to conclude right now, but let's say it's time you go towards the conclusion.
Okay, I'll give you just a couple of things there. So okay, so a couple of things that are interesting. There is an attempt to do esport out of this. Right now it's really bowling, but if you're into this, it's very interesting. There is this thing that is called live CTF. You can watch that, and that's the other thing. There are attempts to do this using a fully automated system, so only machines. This is a project about DARPA, and you can also look at that. And the last things that I want to talk to you about very quickly, and then we take the questions, is how we integrated this at Polytechnico into the courses. We have several security courses. The two that I'm involved are computer security and what is called offensive and defensive cybersecurity. In the computer security class, that is the basic computer security class that is mandatory, we basically run a couple of challenges, not a couple of challenges, 2-week challenges. So basically the students have the possibility to solve the challenge, then it's not mandatory. They have the possibility to solve the challenge to get bonus points on the exam, but the course is classic Italian class with written exam. Okay, while the other one that I'm teaching is basically based on the concept of doing end-on challenges. So the idea is that they have this platform where they have a challenge for each topic and they need to solve. And the thing is that 50% of the grades that they get came from the challenge that they solved home, and the other 50% is from a CTF that we run at the end of the class, where they need to solve new challenges that we wrote specifically for that. Okay, so it's very end-on concept similar to what I explained in the Cyber Challenge. I'm at the recap so that you can ask questions. I talk about Cyber Challenge, that is the training the program. ECSC and ICC, that are the competition. The community that is around, that is really huge. One slide that I missed, but the point is, it's a game, but it's not it's a very serious game. It's very competitive. There is little fair play. If you miss something, you're gonna pay for that. No. It's very serious. And the other thing, how we deal with the academic course. So, questions?
Ok. Esta é a parte que nós colocamos as questões que nós tivermos. Podemos usar o microfone para isso. So this is the moment we must present our questions, and we can use our microphone for that. Yeah.
Good afternoon.
Hello.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, sure.
First of all, I really like to hear your presentation. It's really very interesting. And I think that we'll be really happy to implement something just like that in our country. But I think the challenge will be to get the sponsors engaged. How do you do it in your country? How did you do it? I mean, how did you get the sponsors, involved?
So because basically, the things that they are interested in is, there are a couple of things that are interesting. The main thing is the output of our training process is producing a good pool of students that are going to graduate, that really know a lot of topic, that are really interested and passionate, and they can hire them in an easier process, in the sense that they don't need to look very far to find those type of people that they need. So that's what I think is the main selling point that we have for the sponsor, is you have a pool of good candidates that you eventually can hire, and then it's of course their job to hire them. That's not something that depends on us, but it happened in the past. Actually, it happened very frequent, so it's working. And there is the visibility things, like for the teams when we go around in big events. Okay, and that's the other thing. But the first one is the main thing is sponsors are usually like company that are doing security, or they have like a security department and they need people for hiring. So that's the main thing.
Okay, interesting. Another thing is it's not a question, but it's I don't know if we are going to share this presentation. Is it possible to share the presentation with us?
Sure.
Okay.
Yes. Usually, unless the speaker has constraints, the recording is shared through the project's web page. And also, we collect a PDF version of the slides. Actually, Mario, if you can send it to me.
I'll do that.
And then we also share that.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for the question.
Anyone, please? Anyone else?
There are two questions on the chat. So can we use meta-exploitable?
Metasploitable.
Yes, as vulnerable services.
So it depends on the competition. Basically, we try not to use that because we want people to learn how to write exploit from the start. In Metasploit, you have pre-made exploit. The vulnerability is already known. You basically test them all, and then you maybe need to fix. You need to maybe load the interpreter or whatever. We try to do something in this competition that are more controlled, in the sense that the vulnerability are new. Maybe the concept is not new, but the application is never seen, and so the vulnerability is something new, and you need to work on that. So usually it's not. But there are other versions of competitions, of this type of competition, where instead people use system with real vulnerability and real software, and then it means that you basically can use Metasploit. Okay, so depends on the goal.
Yes, and I think, where is that? Yes, you can hear my voice.
Yeah.
I think I have to answer the second question, because Gilvaldo is asking whether they can apply for a master's degree in security, if there's a scholarship to carry out a master's degree in security at Politecnico di Milano, so here. The answer is, actually, I have two answers. One is that we don't have a master's degree in security. Currently at Politecnico, we have a master's degree in computer science, and you can select as track security, where clearly you end up attending many courses on security. So those taught by Mario, Stefano, and their colleagues. But we don't have a special purpose master's degree in security. There's something shared with another university, but I think I don't want to mention that. The second point is that, unfortunately, the project is not allowed to sponsor students who want to come to Politecnico for, let me say, a complete master's degree. Currently, we have money for so-called research periods, or we could also call them study periods. So you come to Politecnico and you stay here for, let me say, 3-6 months, and then you work with, some of us. Clearly, in order to understand whether you are eligible or not.
Tem essa pergunta tem que ser respondida.
If you can close the mic, if you can. Okay, sorry, I was muted. So it's better if I repeat that. So we don't have a master's degree in security, but we have a master's degree in computer science. The project is not allowed to support students from Mozambique to carry out the whole degree. We have grants for so-called research periods. There are two clearly issues that we must address, or you can help us address it. First of all, you have to ask your professors and your colleagues, your, let me say, local coordinators. So Professor Neves, Professor Jamal, and Professor Kadir. Let me say, if they think you are eligible for a period at Politecnico. This is point number one. clearly, point number 2, given that you would not work with me, but you would work probably, let's say, with Mario, or let's say that group, clearly we must ask them if they are interested in hosting people in the lab and work with them, or let's say, how can I say, coach them for a period while they are at Polytechnic. So we have these 2 points. We have, first, you need to understand with your local peers if you are eligible. Clearly, if you come to Polytechnical, you would be paid for, staying in Milan and coming to Milan and living in Milan. This is the first point. The second point is that then we have to ask Mario and Stefano, so Professor Zanero, who, to the best of my knowledge, is the head of the group.
Yeah.
If they are interested in hosting people and in coaching them while they stay at Polytechnic. And that would work sequentially. So first, you ask your peers, or we can ask all together. Second, we ask our colleagues how we can deal with the issue.
Okay, I have another question that I think it's direct message. If it's okay, I will answer. It's about how the gamification consists and what are like budget and whatever. So basically, the gamification is the ranking system and the scoring. It means that the game is that you need to do more points than the other. And to do more points, you need to solve security challenges. That's the game. That is not very complex, but it's enough to have people engaged. About the cost, running the training locally, we have a very low cost because we basically have old student training new one. Beside myself and my colleagues that we are doing the training as well, we also have old students, people that are in our team, that they do this for free because they like the team and they like to be involved and they learn and they want to give back, basically. And so they train the other. We have like people that moved away that now are working in companies, whatever. They come back and they teach something basically because they learn and want to give back. But some other people, they have like sponsors doing some of the training. Sometimes that is this was part of the question. And how to build like a control environment. Basically, there are some guide online on how to contain. We use basic technology like Linux container or VMs or whatever, and we write the application our own. It takes a lot of time. To give you an idea, to prepare the CTF for the final course, it usually takes me like 10 days during Christmas Eve, during Christmas break, basically, to write all the challenges for the CTF. So it takes the time to write it. In the competition, the national competition, we pay, like in the one with the sponsor, we pay some people to build the challenge for the competition. But the important part there is that those persons are basically old player that they learn the game and they know how to write the challenge. It's something that you learn while playing. So you usually learn like with the community, and then you can do it on your own. I don't know if this answers all your questions.
Okay, thank you, Mario, for answering my questions. Basically, my questions were posed because I'm part of a university,
okay,
and we have a course of cybersecurity, and we call it cryptography and cybersecurity. Okay, and I was very, very interested on your presentation. And I was trying to figure out how we can make this possible in terms of department, you know.
okay,
The department, what will be which will be the step to follow, and how viable we can buid a program like to train students. The first one is train students from the faculty, for example.
Yeah.
So this is my main goal with those questions, and thank you for your responses. I don't know if you have additional something additional to add with this further information I have provided.
So the interesting point is the advice that I can give you on that is that it is a slow process, but not so slow in the sense that so we started by training a few people, and now we have this group of people that can train. We have a positive feedback loop that help us running this with relatively low effort and cost. But the point is, you start for many years. We here at Polytechnico, for the team, we basically had one new person in the team each year. So you train 70 people. Of these 70 people, you get one that stick in the team, and that the next year will be able to one or two to train. Okay, so it takes sometimes to build the group, basically. But this is true basically with any group. It's the same dynamic. You need some time to build a group, and then it will fit on its own.
Thank you once again. Dr. Baresi, are you going to say something to close before we close the meeting?
No. Well, let me say, I don't want to, let's say, start the discussion now, because, you know, I don't know whether Mario is interested or what he can really answer. But if you are interested, we can further exploit all the different opportunities. So maybe you or some of you might be involved in the next issue of the challenge, or we might invite Mario, Stefano, or someone else to give a course at the next summer school in Maputo. But anyway, I don't want to anticipate too many things, because they require a kind of, let's say, private discussion in Italian first, and then we can share the outcome and see how feasible things are. So far, I would say thank you very much. It's already almost 20 to 4, so still 20 people online, not bad.
Great.
Unless, you know, the real audience has other questions, I think they can, in case they are shy, they can send you email messages to your email address. They can write to me, and then I can clearly forward them to you, or otherwise. Thank you very much.
Thank you all.
Okay, Mario, your final words?
I just want to thank you for inviting me to this. Hope it was interesting. It sounds like it was. So let's see if we can do something more. Okay.
Sergio, do you want to close the presentation?
I can, but I wasn't the one who opened. So if you can close that, you can close it. I'm just going to thank Mario once again for this superb presentation, and we personally am excited with what he has shown. So we'll look forward to have Mario again, maybe to help us to start something like this. Thank you, Mario, and thank you everyone for participating.
Thank you.
Professor
Bye-bye.
Baresi, and bye-bye.
Obrigado. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.